What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Bitcoin has taken a little bit of a tumble to the downside, and if you guys watch the live streams, you will know that we have been looking at some bearish signals appearing, which has kind of made my super bullish sentiment flip a little bit to more neutral bearish. And sure enough, we did get a move to the downside. Now, are we about to see Bitcoin drop to much lower prices, or are we just seeing a healthy pullback before putting in a higher low and continuing to higher prices? We're going to be covering all the key levels in today's market update. I want you guys to know what levels you have to be watching to the downside to be looking for your next longs. And I also want to talk about that key level of support that we must hold. And if we don't, it could cause a much bigger move down for Bitcoin. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts, take a look at these key levels, and talk to you guys about how I'm handling my trades in the current market. Let's get into it. So, guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and obviously we have gotten a little bit of a spill to the downside. Now, I know the question that everybody is asking themselves right now is, are we about to get a much bigger move to the downside, as we have not really gotten any kind of significant corrections on this entire move to the upside. The last significant correction we have gotten was when we got that ETF approval. While we were tapping that macro golden pocket, we got a nice little 21.5% dump. Now, if you guys watched the live stream, you will know there were some bearish signals up here that we were looking at that kind of changed my be greedy with your longs and conservative with the shorts sentiment to more of a neutral bearish sentiment, as we were putting in this bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame with our money flow also trending to the downside. This oftentimes marks a significant top in the market, guys. Now, I'm not necessarily saying we're going to zero, but this does oftentimes point to some kind of a trend to the downside, which we are seeing play out perfectly right now. Now, as you guys know, we have been looking at this market in the context of these volume profiles, and part of the reason why we were getting pretty bearish up here at the highs was not only were we putting in that bearish divergence on the 4-hour with money flow coming out, but we were doing that as we were deviating above our volume profile, letting us know that this could potentially be giving us a signal that this is an overvalued Bitcoin, and we could look for a return back into the range and an acceptance back into that volume profile to get a move back down to your POC, and then eventually expecting that value area low to come in. Now, you guys will know if you watch the live streams, one of our major levels of support, we're down here in that $65,000 zone, and if I pull up the local analysis, this will look familiar to you guys. You will know that we were looking for long positions down here between about $65,000 and about $64.5K. Now, again, I did take a scalp long position here over the weekend with the premium Discord, or the kitchen as I like to call it. I did take a scalp long off of this golden pocket / long zone that we had, as when you come down to those value area lows, you are typically looking for long positions to go back to the POC and then hopefully flip that POC to support and go to the value area high. But on the live stream last night, you guys know I was talking about how I did close my position here. I will pull this up. I have it marked out here. I did take this little scalp long position, but I did close it in full on Sunday to lock in those profits, as we did have a lot of the money flow coming to the downside here, guys. And what do we always say about money flow? That's right. It very rarely lies. So when you see that money flow coming out, we are anticipating a potential downtrend to continue. And the fact that we were coming up to this local golden pocket kind of made me think maybe it would be a good idea to close this position in full. And we also front ran the daily level down here, so I was expecting that to come down and get tapped, and that wound up being a very good decision. As you can see, as expected, we did get that next move to the downside, which made me look down to the 786 retracement for my next long position, which, by the way, I have taken a position on. And there you go. You guys can see just up about 192%, about a $33, almost $34,000 position. If you guys want to sign up and kill these trades with the Mafia, whether you're in the premium or the free Discord, you guys can sign up for BingX, link in the description down below, and you will get some discounts on your fees or trading bonuses. They're always offering deals for the CandleMafia, but I will just say right now, guys, I do not have the highest hopes for this position. This is a smaller position for me, just a nice little day trade, or, scalp, I guess you could call it, but I do not have the highest hopes for this trade for one reason specifically, and it has to do with money flow, right? As you know, last night on the live stream, we were looking for that 30-minute money flow crossover into the red to start the bigger move down, as we were also printing an 8-hour red dot. And oftentimes when we have an 8-hour red dot with that 30-minute money flow crossover into the red, that 30-minute money flow crossover is oftentimes what causes the bigger move to the downside. And you can see here, money flow crosses into the red, and you get the dump to come in. Insanely reliable strategy there. Now, I don't typically trade just based off of this, but I do use it as a confirmation. This was part of the reason why I was anticipating anticipating a move back down at least to the daily, which again, obviously we flew right through. That's why I waited for the lower level, which was the 786. So let's take a look at where price can go next. So simply put, guys, what happened here, right? We lost this range. And we are potentially getting accepted back into the old range, which could open up the door to come down to your POC and your value area low. And your value area low of this range is getting around the $60,000 level. There are some other levels a little bit lower, but I'm not going to cover those in today's video. But simply put, I'm going to be looking within the context of this volume profile because we lost the golden pocket. We got to bounce off the 786, which again makes for that acceptable scalp trade. Oh, there you go. Up over $1,000 on the day. Not too shabby for a few minutes of analysis. But like I said, the fact that we are within this volume profile now, we do want to be a bit careful because we could easily get stuck under this value area high and then continue a move back into the lower levels of the profile. So as of right now, guys, simply put, we lost the golden pocket. We just about tapped that 786. So I'm going to remove those levels off the chart. And simply put here, if we wind up getting accepted back into this range, I'm going to be looking lower down to about $61,000 to $60,000. Now, another honorable mention here would be this big wick down here, which obviously could potentially, this could potentially give us a swing failure pattern, as we can assume that there could be a lot of stop losses and liquidation levels down here. So if price does indeed not break out here and come to the upside, and we do get accepted back into this range, and we come down to the value area low, if we deviate below this range, we could see a quick little liquidation event happen below this wick. And if we do get a swing failure pattern here, it could signal an acceptance back into the range and eventually up into higher prices. So simply put, guys, I don't want to overcomplicate the analysis today, simply looking in the context of this profile, right? We lost the upper profile, and now we are just looking down to the lower profile. And if we do continue back up here, we can always keep an eye on the higher profile, as the value area low and value area high are almost like sitting at the exact same level. So we are in a little bit of no man's land here, as if we get above this value area high, you could argue that you're getting accepted back into this range. But let's not forget the 4-hour money flow is crossing over into the red, which could likely signal a high probability of a downtrend to continue. So if we do break out here, I'm not necessarily just looking at it as acceptance into the old range and a move to the POC in the value area high, but instead, I will be looking for potential rejections at that point of control, because if we do wind up putting in a lower high and continuing the downtrend, this may be a high likelihood area for that lower high to come in at. Now, if we flip that 786 sitting at about $67,600, that is where I would assume it's going to be more likely than not that we do come up to that value area high. But again, with the way money flow looks, it does look a little bit more likely that we will come in and put in a lower high at some point and come a bit lower here. Now, things change on the chart by the minute, so we could see that kind of sentiment change as price action develops. But as of right now, that is what I'm looking at, being very, very cautious of not only a lower high to come in at this POC Golden Pocket 786, but also being very cautious around this value area low, as sometimes if we can't get back above it, this will act as resistance before finally getting rejected out of the range. Same thing with the POC. A lot of times you will retest that POC before getting a bigger move to the downside and getting accepted into the lower volume profile. And if we do break above that local 786, I would just be pulling my full fib from the high all the way down to the low and then looking at this golden pocket 786. And to be quite honest with you, that 786 does have pretty nice confluence with that value area high. And let's also not forget that we are developing quite a bit of liquidity above these highs up here. So again, right now I do have to say I am leaning a bit more bearish, or I am being pretty open-minded to a bigger move down as we play around with this range. Because again, we get accepted into here, it's going to be a little bit more bearish on top of the money flow, right? Money flow very rarely lies. And we also have a weekly red dot printing. This is all stuff we looked at on the live stream, calling for lower prices, which is why I was switching my sentiment last week to a little bit more neutral bearish. But this is how I'm looking at the market, guys. Like, these are the key levels of resistance I'm looking at if we do come up and we are going to put a lower high in. And again, guys, if you're asking me why I'm not just looking to put in a new all-time high, it simply has to do with the money flow. Not only is the 4-hour money flow coming out, but we also have the 5-hour about to cross over into the red. And then even these higher hourly time frames are starting to bleed out as well. So, we have to be open to the bigger move down. And to be quite honest, instead of just FOMO longing these dips, dips and looking for the new all-time high, I am being much more conservative with the longs now instead of greedy, which again is very important when you're actually trading this market, because you can't just keep FOMO longing the dips if money flow is coming out indicating that a downtrend is likely, right? In that case, you're going to have a much higher hit rate shorting lower highs rather than just blindly longing the dip. So I don't want to be like that negative Nancy doom and gloom guy out there, but we have been kind of firing these bearish warning shots on the live stream last week, and we are starting to see this stuff play out. And I'm never going to come on this YouTube channel and say we're going up forever in a straight line if I don't think that's the case. When I think that's the case, that's what I say. As you guys know, that's what I've been saying throughout this whole move up. But I'm never going to come up here and tell you it's going up if I think it's going down. And simply put, there are signs on the chart showing potential weakness. And before I let you guys go, I want to talk about that key level we must hold, or we could see a much bigger move down. And that level, for the most part, guys, is basically going to be this wick here at about $59,000. And the reason for this is you can see, if we pull up that VPVR, you can see, right? We have a lot of volume here. We have a lot of volume within this range. So we could bing bong around this range for a little bit. But if we start losing this low, guys, I'm going to be looking for longs down here. But if we lose this decisively, the next real big levels of support don't come in until we hit about $51,700 to $52,000. Even $52,500 would be a key level I would watch. But looking at this volume, guys, like we have a pretty big gap down here to about 57. Again, another key level I will be looking at for scalp longs. But once we lose that, there's a pretty big gap all the way down to this high volume node, again, at about 52.5. So that is going to be a big level. And, I just kind of want to let you guys know that, this is going to be very, very important that we hold these lows, because if not, we could see this whole low volume gap get filled, because as you guys know, those big moves up oftentimes call for big moves down. So locally, I'm going to be holding this long to see what I can squeeze out of it here, but I am monitoring this very, very closely. I'm about to take some profit on this right now, guys. So again, this is a small position. I don't necessarily anticipate this to absolutely moon, again, because of the money flow. But, when you see a little local bounce in the market there, as traders, we have the luxury of taking those opportunities, jumping in, throwing some leverage on the position, grabbing a quick $1,000 and jumping out of the market. So guys, with all that being said, hopefully this clears up the market for you guys a little bit. I just wanted to show you the context that I'm looking at things in, and kind of those next key levels to the downside. So again, watch those lows at between 60 to 57K. We start losing that 57K level, guys, things could get ugly very quickly. But as always, I'll keep you updated here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. And shout out to the Candle Mafia. I'll see you guys later at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the live streams. And with all that being said, that's all I got for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Frankie Candles.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like.